Thanks for staying with us. So during the paper review, we had discussed the fact that Qatar was hosting the World Cup and all the many controversies surrounding this decision. Now, nobody here is a football analyst. Nobody here is, we're not a FIFA analyst in any way. But we're just looking at and discussing the various controversies we've heard, what it means to us, how people are seeing it in different ways, especially considering the fact that there have been accusations of human rights violations from Qatar for migrants who have lived there, the fact that their stance against the LGBTQ way of life and other things that the West have totally condemned. And then that's on one end. Another end is, well, Nima was saying during the paper review that it also projects the Islamic world, the Arab world, and shows the sincerity of the Islamic religion to the world. And there's an opportunity to showcase what Islam truly is in different ways. So it depends on who is looking at it. What are your thoughts on this? We'd like to hear your thoughts on the fact that Qatar is hosting the World Cup. The West seems to have a serious issue with this. Others are seeing it from a different angle. What are your thoughts? How do you see this decision? You can call us on 08127053687, 09139076694. You can also tweet to us at TVC. Can I please hashtag your view TVC so we can read your tweets? Remember, we are not football analysts on this table.
We're not analyzing football.
We're not analyzing football. We're not analyzing that. We're only saying our perspective on what it means to us or what it doesn't mean to us. Let me start with Nima because you started the conversation saying that what it meant to you. Let me start with you.
It was so beautiful. I wish my dad was alive to see a country host the World Cup, an Islamic country host the World Cup unapologetically. There are certain values people are known for. So when you cross the border and land in China, you will do as we always do, as we always hear. Do what they do in Rome, as they do in Rome when you cross there. But you know, when the Western world sits in judgment, they always judge from their own perspective, their ways, their values, and tell a country how they would run their country. The only thing I must admit here is that all of the Arab countries, I've always said it, do not have favorable human rights laws around migrants. They're not favorable. They are very disrespectful. They don't have the same fundamental human rights values as we do under our constitution. And most of them are Emirates. Most of them, they don't run a democracy, so you will not go there and expect the same standard. If you go into Indonesia, for instance, with a bag of drugs, you know what the sentence is. Or even one small pill, you know what the sentence is. So countries should be able to stand. Let me not call them, I don't want to use the word racist, but people and their values are what you come to see when they host you. You don't come to see your values in them. So your appreciation should come from what exactly is the best and good part about them. And what I love the most is that I doubted it if Saudi were to host the World Cup, if people would see the beauty of Islam, because Saudi has become an apologetic country recently. They've watered down every Islamic values, even in their justice system. So along Qatar, I saw pictures on all the Islamic blogs I follow of Qatar quoting the sayings of the Prophet ﷺ about how we deal with neighbors, how people are welcome. It was so beautiful to see.
Okay, let me pause you for a second. I'll still give you the floor to speak because I know this is really something you're proud of. But let me come to those of us on the other side, saying, how do you perceive this? Let me come to you, Tokwe.
So I've been following the Qatar controversies towards the World Cup, and I just felt that we need to talk about the hypocrisy of the Western world and the hypocrisy of saying, this is the way I have discovered to be the way it should be, and everybody that doesn't do it the way I discovered it should be is wrong. And when we talk about inclusion, and they are big on, Western world, they are big on inclusion, include the LGBTQ, include ABCD, can we also include those that their culture does not support it? Because yesterday, my pastor was preaching, said she was in Amsterdam, and she went into the red light district where they've legalized prostitution. People go there, it's allowed. They've legalized a lot of these things there. But and nobody is saying, why would you legalize a commercialization of a woman? And the Western world isn't saying that this thing legalized in this country is not acceptable for us. They've accepted and included some people to do what they want to do. Also allow those that have said, we do not include this. And I'm so happy that Qatar stood its ground and not have beer inside the stadium. That was a major controversy. They were able to get Brazil to upturn it. Brazil changed their own federal law because of FIFA to allow people to drink beer in the stadium. And Qatar said, no, we don't allow beer. You cannot drink beer publicly. You can only drink beer in the places where we have called FIFA festival zones. And I think that should not be frowned upon. But FIFA has done something amazing in including other countries and other culture in football. And they should let that trend, they shouldn't fall under the pressure of we are going to protest, because people are protesting against FIFA for allowing Qatar to host. And so FIFA is now putting pressure on Qatar. In actual fact, FIFA should stand for what it means, football, celebrating everyone to be allowed to play football.
But do you think, do you think there are lessons to learn here? Because many of us, especially those of us in Africa, it seems like we're very quick to accepting the culture, the Western culture, or them influencing us than us influencing them. And do you think there are lessons to learn, or do you think actually if you cannot join them, if you cannot be like them, don't join them? How do you see this?
So I'm happy that we are going to be drawing lessons from this, and I'm even more happy that we still have countries or people who know who they are and stand by it. We have talked about a lack of values, especially from the West, which is gradually sifting into our own systems here because we do not know who we are. We have no identity anymore. And so because they are not accepting this, it's sweet, okay, let us adopt it so that we can belong. They are accepting this one, it's interesting, let us adopt it. A man and a woman can now marry. Okay, it's not that bad. Let's not sit in a place of judgment. Let us accept it because we are gradually losing out on our own essence and our identity. And now this is a country that says, this is who we are. They complained that they didn't have infrastructures. And I was wondering, when you knew that a country like Qatar does not have that capacity of infrastructure to take in the World Cup, why was it selected in the first place? You put it there, it was selected, and so you have to deal with what you have to face. When you go there, you behave. If you come to visit in my house, you don't sit down and give me the rules of how I should treat you and how I should serve you. You accept whatever I give to you.
Taken.
That's it. So the identity part for me, that they are sticking to who they are, is a lesson for everybody, especially Africans that are quick to abandon everything that they have and just follow the West.
I get you, but you see, the sanctity of human rights. You all just admitted now that one of the shortcomings, especially in the Arab world, is the fact that they've not been able to embrace the human rights laws and the backbone of the Western belief system is the fact that every human being has a right to be it LGBTQ, be it whatever it is. You have the right to decide what you want, and you must be respected. So as basic as that is, don't you think that if you are going to be inviting people to your home, that okay, these people have this belief system, would you be criticized for bending the rules, or would you be saying that I am accommodating you because you're coming to my house?
Let's not miss the job of society. Business of society is to regulate its values in its people. And Qatar is good at their job. Now in Qatar, to be a gay person is 7 years imprisonment if you are not a Muslim. And it is a Sharia rule when you're a Muslim. So they have two systems. 7 years if you are not a visitor, not Muslim. If you're a Muslim, it's death sentence. They don't allow it they are strict. Just as being a fraud, an embezzler in government in China is death sentence. So when you cross to Nigeria, you can have connection and you'll be fine. It's the same, different things. And whatever it produces at the end of the day for that society is the form and culture of the society. As we are here now, we are shouting every day, government, thief money. But that's our culture. That's how we water down what the consequence of anything would be. And Qatar is regulating its society, its people to promote the values that they believe in.
Let me read you what a report says. It says that Qatar is a country that for many years used a system that many human rights groups worried that exploited laborers and some cases kept people's passports and didn't even pay them. Also, some reports have indicated that hundreds, even thousands of workers died in the process of building the stadiums and other infrastructures for the Cup. They're now saying that FIFA should have used the opportunity of this World Cup to insist that if Qatar doesn't obey international human rights laws, you cannot host. So it's an opportunity to help. It would have been an opportunity for FIFA to help instill proper international human rights, because we cannot excuse their failure in human rights laws to then justify the fact that, they're an Islamic nation that had the opportunity to host the World Cup.
Okay, but Mariah, let's understand that your human rights or
labor
laws or whatever stops where another person's own starts. So what you call human rights would be seen differently from different countries and their culture. These are countries that are very cultural, very religious. So they have built a form of rights or laws that they think is human enough for them to accept. So you can't come and say, this is the international best standards. You are saying that they suffer a lot of workers, a lot of their workers have died in building the stadium and all of that. You are forgetting that. Wait, the UK government that we have today was built on the back of who? Slaves. The American government we have today was built on the back of who? Slaves.
That is why slavery has been abolished.
They have gotten there. They cannot instill that people will get there before their time. That's what they did to us.
I don't want to mix culture and morals with human rights. They are two different things.
No. See, what you call human rights is because you have an understanding that this is how it should be. Allow another person get to that understanding. What you can only do or advocate is that we begin to have a conversation. What is their conversation level like with the different governments? Qatar, what is their conversation level? What's this department that handles diaspora government? What are they doing? What conversations are they having? They have to get to that level where they see it from your eyes. You can't impose it on them. Let me take this call.
Come to you, talk. Good morning. How are you doing? Femi from Abuja.
How are you?
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Nice to be on this program.
Yes.
What you that message you just read just brings out the confusion about the human rights implementation when it comes to the Western world. Do you notice that in the U.S., the fight for black emancipation has been changed and given to LGBTQ? So it is now in the Qatar World Cup. When people talk about LGBTQ, you find that Qatar has sympathizers. But when you play up the abuse of labor laws in not paying migrant workers, it brings out a greater level of sympathy. It is because the West has given more prominence to LGBTQ fight than other major human rights advocacies. And so when things like this come up, you find a mix of reactions. And that is why Qatar may be getting away with the abuse of migrant labor.
Okay, go ahead.
I totally agree with Femi. The truth is, what are we fighting? What's the Western world fighting for? And if they had fought for the right things and not get distracted, they probably would have been able to achieve substantial influence. There's always issues around labor laws within the Middle East, and it is a major issue. It affects several Nigerians who go there with the intention of legitimately working, who don't get paid, who gets sentenced to prison, or they are made a slave. These are issues that need to be addressed because people go to countries and migrate and they should be able to work freely there without being enslaved, in quotes. That should have been addressed major. That would have, everybody in the world would have supported them to say, Qatar, the least you can do, you've given this opportunity, we will allow you not to sell beer. We will allow you to frown, to maintain your values. Can you also give the world something by implementing the labor laws? That would have been a good win. But they decided to dilute it. They were fighting for too many things at the same time. I believe that it was a good thing for Qatar to hold on to its values, but everybody is evolving. And part of the area Qatar needs to evolve is in their labor laws. And this made it very obvious that they do not have a good one. Yeah. And I feel that FIFA and the world lost an opportunity to make a huge impact by focusing on that one instead of diverting themselves.
Let me take this call from Larry. Why don't you come to you, Nima? Good morning, Larry. Are you there?
Yeah, good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I want people to understand something. We're talking about LGBT, okay, and concerning the Qatar as well. Most of these countries, so-called the Muslim Emirates, all this, they come to this country, to UK, to seek asylum. You know why? Because they are being persecuted in their own country, maybe being gay, being lesbian. Everyone comes to this country to seek asylum. And they are looking like, and they go to America as well. Remember that some years ago, one of the prince in Saudi, he came to this country with his maid. I think his maid is trying to, friend with the maid, maybe have something with him, So, he killed that guy in the lift. He ran away to Saudi and the case was closed down. So there's a lot of things that is going on behind it, and most of these government people in all these Muslim countries, they come here and they do contrary things to what.
All right, thank you very much, Alani. I have to wrap up on this because we don't have so much time. But I think the human rights issues have been raised, and I think everybody sees that. But I would like to give Nima the final word here because I need to also let her reiterate why this is such an important landmark for many Muslims. Yeah.
Okay, so just as I said earlier, Qatar is doing the right representation, the right mirror of the Islamic world, putting the right Islamic values out there. I'd like that they add human rights, because at the core of all the sayings they are putting are human rights laws deviating from the Arab practices of old slavery and abuses of labor. In Islam, the sweat of a laborer must not dry before his money is paid. It's a saying of the Prophet and practiced by the Prophet. It's sad that, Arab wars generally, when they need to, they strictly protect themselves. None of the Arab wars grant anybody asylums in their country. You don't get a stay in their countries. They don't grant, if you like, stay there 67 years. You can never become a citizen of their country. So they protect themselves. So instead of focusing on the FIFA and Qatar hosting the FIFA World Cup, can the world generally start with Dubai, where everybody likes to go, and ask them, why do you take people's passports when you need to employ them? Why do you force people to stay on your site, run them in a settlement kind of treatment when they have to work with you? So it doesn't start with Qatar. Leave Qatar to host World Cup and focus on Arab world if you need to change labor laws.
It's important to also know that there are special packages for those who wanted to take alcohol.
Yes.
So they've been able to different packages. So at least accommodate. So someone bent over backwards to help to accommodate their visitors. But hey, I think we should highlight the good in this, which is the fact that the Islamic world is therefore being projected in the positive light, which is important for the world to see.